George and Dina have a fifth wheel that was declared unsafe to move. After the repairs, they're not feeling so confident.
The safety of this rig is 100% in question.
Welcome to the channel. I'm Liz. I have been RVing since the 80s, and I've been making videos helping people who've had problems with their new RVs. These videos have caused the RV industry to spring into action, including flying techs in to make repairs, transporting the rig back to the factory, and even buying back defective RVs. Today, as George and Dina share their story, you're likely going to feel a little more cautious when you see RVs like theirs driving down the road.
This is our second camper. About a year and a half ago now, we sold our boat dealerships, and his dream was to go to all of the motorcycle rallies across the country. And the only way that we could do that with the two dogs that we have is to buy a toy hauler. And we looked at probably 10 different brands, and we landed on the 410 THR. We had many friends with Grand Design, and everyone sung the praises of Grand Design.
My dealer is great. La Mesa RV in Sanford, Florida. Fit and finish quality did, even walking into it, far surpass the Forest River that we had prior. The very first thing that went wrong when we picked up the rig. We picked up the rig, we brought it to Bees, this same campground that we're at, plugged it in, went to go get some stuff from our house, come back, and it smells like something's on fire, burning. Out to the box, and it's burnt. It's all... There was no neutral ground wired to the 50 amp on the rig side. So that same day I had to take it back to Grand Design and say, what this? They replaced the plug and gave me a new power cord. So we picked it up May 12th of 2023. May 14th, we headed to Laconia, New Hampshire. Got it up to New Hampshire, staying in New Hampshire. I was there about a month.
And that's when we realized there were a lot of issues.
There was some gremlins. Our refrigerator started making a violent noise and shaking.
It was terrifying in the middle of the night. The noise, I guess it was some sort of motor, and it was the loudest thing ever. We actually came back to Florida before we could get it repaired. So we didn't have a refrigerator or freezer for almost
18 days.
The generator had stopped working at that point.
We came back. They had time to fix the refrigerator because Samsung came out and fixed the refrigerator. The generator parts were on back order for 18 months. Okay. We just know we can't boondock. We need to be hooked up to power. So we set back out. We were in Tennessee, had some issues, trim pieces falling off. The screws and the slides were backing out. I had to tighten them back in.
Sawdust everywhere every time we stopped.
Yeah, every time we stopped, when we opened the slides, we saw some sawdust.
The floor in the bedroom creaked. The island was loose.
Oklahoma, we had to spend 4 hours on the phone with Grand Design because I detached from the truck and the trailer just decided to go all the way down in the front. It just and went down, wouldn't go back up. And basically their solve for me to get it back up was take the hydraulics off the slide and connect them to the legs and get the legs to work. And then once they worked, I hooked them back to the slides to get the slides done, and then back to the legs, and then back to the slides. And then after I got it to situate to where we had everything closed up, it started working again. And then our rear door was out of plumb and would actually just swing open going down the road. We literally had to tie it closed to keep it closed.
After we brought it home from the dealership, before we even took off for Laconia, the wall in the bedroom was kind of like warped, and someone had tried to like air nail it back together. And then we started noticing other places where wall panels were supposed to come together, that they were separated. The door from the kitchen to the garage would not open or close without a lot of force.
So basically every stop was a new problem to address.
We had several people that were following us on YouTube that said, probably 2-3 months in, we think that y'all are jinxed and y'all should come off the road.
We made it 10 months. Dropped it off at the dealership.
We wanted to get it in for this laundry list of problems and issues that we had.
The shop foreman, he said, come talk to me. He showed us basically where there was 4 to 5 inches of flex in the pin box, like 4 to 5 inches of it lifting up into the cap without even lifting the rig. In the bedroom, the front of the rig and the dresser in the 410, you pull the drawers out, you literally could see 3 inches of daylight where the wall had separated from the frame itself. Where the cap goes on, the little ends were actually, the welds were totally broken, gaping holes. But there was actual breaks all the way through at joints where they had welded them and the welds had popped or the metal had broke. All the other problems was all caused of the frame separating from the actual rig itself. 3 inches of separation from the cap of this to the frame of this, if it would have shifted or we would have had to go around a camber that made it shoved down, what could it have done to us in the truck? When we talked to the service advisor, he's like, we've classified your rig unsafe to move.
That service advisor said, we've called Grand Design. Grand Design is going to send someone to pick up the rig. We will not move it at all out of the space.
Classified unsafe to move.
Since they sent an SRT pretty quickly, I'm assuming even Grand Design did not want to move it.
They had to replace the microwave.
We didn't even know there was anything wrong with the microwave. They said, you're getting a new microwave because it's literally, the frame is pulling away from the wall. The frame was broken. It was pulling off of the wall.
It was manufactured 12 of 22. The problem is this was a rig that said shouldn't be failing because it's the new tubular design, but it failed. It was 2-3 weeks. SRT came out. Very nice guy. Good welder. He put welds all around, like literally it looked like they didn't even weld it if what he did is supposed to be done. He put in like 6 big steel plates in areas, I guess, that are weak points. He welded the subframe to the frame up under the cap in multiple areas. They buttoned it all back up and tested the flex, and there was no more flex. They moved on to the interior, did the interior. Just a few days, over 3 months, we finally got the rig back.
It's been over $10,000 in Airbnb and hotel expenses.
We own homes, but we have them rented.
You know, when you fix one part, then the strength of the next part downstream, if it's not brought up to that code, that's the next weak point. And they had also spoken about weight in that area. We've heard different things that they were concerned about the weight in the fifth wheel, the upper fifth wheel part of it. But then they just added probably at least 150 maybe plus pounds of weight.
They removed the phylon, and that's where a lot of the welding was. When they took the cap off of the top, that's where he put the straps on the two corners
that were
broken, and he couldn't weld them, so he welded straps on top of them. More steel. They put a lot more weight in the front of this rig. So 21,000 pounds is what totally it's supposed to be. We have never been over 20,000 pounds, and we've had these failures.
The dealer made sure that we had the RV back in time as requested to go to Sturgis. And we've had a good experience with our dealer.
And the SRT guy was on the up and up. But in reality, the safety of this rig is 100% in question. Me towing it almost 5,000 miles round trip is very questionable. We have some obligations in Sturgis with our YouTube channel. He does photography for a magazine. So we have some obligations that we do need to be there. I have a lot of friends that are, expecting to see us.
And Grand Design says that this is the fix. So I guess this is the test.
I may end up flying my wife, and me and the dogs hit the truck to head to Sturgis to take it there, just to make sure that nothing fails. And then the value of it is tanked. I'll never be able to get out from under it because of this.
We had planned on trading into a bus, and now that option is gone because our value has tanked.
The grand total, including freight, $175,186 on the MSRP sheet that we paid $147,000 for and thought we were getting a decent deal. A wholesaler wants to give you 50 grand. What will we tell somebody else about camping?
I feel like they sold a lifestyle of being able to take your toys with you and use these larger rigs as homes. They really did promote that lifestyle, and we bought into it. And I don't know that the rigs were built to sustain that, or whether they were trying to jam as much into them as possible to sell and market that idea. That's my opinion, is that they really played on the heartstrings of people that wanted to go out and live a dream and explore and have a lifestyle. So they cut corners, they put, all the things, the fancy range, the elevator, the fireplace, all of the household, appliances and everything that you would want when you walk in. You're wowed by it. Oh, I can live in this. This is just as nice as, some homes, but maybe the frame just can't really support that.
My experience, the pros outweigh the cons. I'm not saying the full time can't be done, but the chasing the dream of being like going to the motorcycle rallies or music festivals to where you travel every 3 to 7 to 10 days, you're on the road going to the next one. That much travel, these rigs, these large rigs cannot withstand. I clearly see that now, hindsight, after I spent the money, spent the time doing it, and seeing what actually all broke and stuff I didn't even and wasn't even aware that broke that could have killed us. Do a lot of homework. Look much smaller than you think you need. Don't go for the big rig. It's not necessary, and my experience is it's very unsafe. Go with a reputable brand, either like the higher end brands that are custom built like Lux and stuff like that. I'm hearing great things of Brinkley, or go with a motor home itself.
What really opened our eyes is when we did start shopping for buses. The difference in quality and construction really made us realize, oh my gosh, what have we been hauling across the country under the belief that we had the best that you could buy on a production level. There's a reason why tours use buses versus something to this degree, because they are going, and they have to be at the next stop. They don't have a choice.
This is a park model. This is something that should have been set in a park and never moved. It's not capable, I feel, in my opinion, to do what they say it's to do. I want out from under this. My worry is this isn't safe to be on the road. I want out of this rig and into something that's more structurally sound. Buy me back and I could go get a bus. I know the problems it's going to have. It's going to be engine problems type deal, or whatever problems that can be fixed, not actual structural problems to where my wife and dogs are in jeopardy. I'm in jeopardy. I would want a full buyback and us just part ways happily ever after.
I'm really curious as to how common this frame issue is. It's not limited to Grand Design because Lippert makes the frame. I did a video recently about an Alliance frame issue. Now, I owned a Grand Design. It's been a couple years. I had it for 3 years. It was a 35-foot fifth wheel, and every time I traveled, when I stopped, the door, which was deadbolted, the outside door had popped open. Now, fortunately, there was that bar in front of it to keep it in place, but I didn't know at the time, because it wasn't on the radar, that the frame could have been the problem. I also had squeaky floors. So I'm curious, how many people do you know who are having frame issues with their RVs? Let me know in the comments. By the way, I reached out to Grand Design and I asked them about George and Dina's case. They said they were on it, but I haven't heard anything more, so you'll have to stay tuned for an update. And if you have had issues with the frame, even if you don't own the RV anymore, be sure to report it to NHTSA. This might bring about a safety recall. If you found this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. I'll have a link for that below. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.